Chat Army. Today we're here with Bobby Vala, the creator of Action Force. How's it going, Bobby?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. So which one come first, the comic or the action figures?
The figures. I developed the figure line first, and then the comic book line sort of evolved with it.
Oh. Is it hard creating an action figure?
It is, I guess, if you don't have the experience. I spent many years in the toy industry, almost 7 years at Hasbro, so I knew the ins and outs of developing, designing, producing toys and action figures. So when I decided to start my own company and do my own action figure line, it was a little easier. You know, it's still a hard thing. There's still a lot of, moving parts and things like that, but I had the knowledge and the experience to do it, and it's been successful so far.
Nice. Where can people pick up the action figures if they want to?
You can get all of Series 1 at Valaverse.com. There's a link to click for the pre-order site. Currently, all of Series 1, all 15 items are being produced over in China right now, and they're set to ship to the U.S. in the spring. So still time to get in now and get your orders. Lots of good figures, unique characters, weapons packs, gear packs, really, really good stuff coming out in that series.
What size did you go with? Did you go with I think it's 6 and 8 inch, right?
Yeah, I went 6 inch. 6 inch or 1/12 scale is like the new hot scale. Marvel Legends, Star Wars Black Series, everything's going in that direction where, there used to be 3 3/4 was the big, the hot scale, and now it's morphed into 6 inch figures, and you get a better quality product at 6 inches. You get more detail, more deco, better accessories. So that's why I decided to go that route.
Okay. So what's the comic book about? The action figures on their adventures to add more life to the or to give you backstory on the figures?
Yeah. So when I developed the action figures, I developed it as like an IP, as its own story. So I wanted to have a way to tell the stories of the characters, all about them, their upcoming missions, while the figures were being produced. So as everyone's waiting for their figures, they can enjoy this content. And I had come from the comic book industry, so it was a no-brainer to kind of go with comics. And it was the best way to get the source material and the content out to people.
All right, cool. So are you going to do a volume 2 to the book, or how many issues is volume 1?
So there's no set amount of issues for volume 1 yet. I'm just kind of doing them as I do them. Okay. So right now there's 4 issues out. Issues 5, 6, and 7 are currently in production now, so they're being drawn right now. So after those 7 issues, I'm not sure. Maybe I'll put them all together in a trade and release that. Or there's also the route of getting a publisher, because I'm so busy doing the figure toy end of it that the comics take up a lot of time. So it'd be nice if I could license it out to a publisher that would put the book out, and I would just approve everything for it. So that's where I'm hoping it goes, but we'll see. I mean, I'm really enjoying doing the comics, even though it is a lot of work, but you will see. I mean, people are loving the story so far, so I'm going to try to get as much content out as I can, during this time period.
Right. Are you a one-man band, or do you have a team?
Yeah, Valaverse is a one-man show. Although I use a lot of outside vendors, freelancers, that sort of thing. So I have a lot of great, talented people that do work for me, creating all this great content and figures. So it's a one-man show, but it's not a one-man show. A lot of people involved behind the scenes.
All right. And where can people pick up the comic book at?
So the comics, which have just left from the printer, and they are set to be delivered, I believe, Monday, although this will air Wednesday, so I will have the comics by the time this airs. So issues 1 through 4 will be available on Valaverse.com on the online store. But I'm going to need some time, because I bag and board every one of them, to sell them that way, so that they stay in good condition when I mail them out. So it's going to take me some time to put them all together and get them up on the store. So just follow all of the social media accounts to stay updated on when the comics will go up for sale. because it's not a huge run, and hopefully they do sell out. But if you want the comics, just go to Valaverse.com, follow the social media on Facebook, just follow Valaverse, same thing on Instagram, and I'll put up many updates as we're leading up to putting the issues up for sale on the site.
All right. Did you do a Kickstarter for the books?
No, I did a Kickstarter for the action figure line, but the comics I had done myself.
Nice.
Yeah. I got a great writer, and I know a lot of great artists and colorists. So it was fairly easy to get people together to do the comic, and it all came together really nicely.
All right. Could we have a little sneak peek of some of the characters or some of the characters' names right here?
Yeah. So Action Force is the team, basically like the good guys. It's like, if you want to call them like a G.I. Joe-esque military team, very covert elite military group. Their leader is Condor. He's a British SAS officer, but he was a liaison over here in the U.S. And when you read the story, kind of, lots of things go down, which causes him to stay and form this group. There is Eclipse. She's one of the female members of the team. There's the Steel Brigade, which is like their special ops unit. We have Sergeant Slaughter is in the line as well, and he's got his own issue. Issue 4 is all about Sergeant Slaughter and how he kind of brings the Action Force team together. There's let's see who else is in those issues. Yeah, a lot of the Swarm. The Swarm are like the kind of the secret villains of the story. So you're going to learn about them in issue 1, because there's you're not really sure if they're good or they're bad, but there's something kind of fishy going on with them. So those are some of the great characters you get in those first 4 issues.
All right. That sounds pretty interesting. I know I asked you before, I can't speak today. Are you in the military, or was you in the military?
I am not, but I'm a big time military enthusiast. I loved G.I. Joe and military toys growing up. So when I decided to form my own company and figure line, I wanted to go in the military direction, because at the time no one was doing 6-inch military figures yet. And I kind of had this unique story of how this military group comes together and what they do and the other factions that they go up against. And it's always been a genre that, intrigued me. So I knew that was the lane I wanted to go in.
Okay. What advice would you give someone that wants to make their own toy line?
Oh man. I get this one a lot. It's, cause I know there's a lot of people out there that, look at it and they're like, oh, I want to make my own toys, and it looks so cool. It takes a lot of knowledge. You really have to know what you're doing. It takes a lot of upfront money. I know that, in 2013, 2014, there was a surge of successful Kickstarters hitting the market. And then in 2015, 16, 17, you had another surge of people doing Kickstarters, but didn't really have the knowledge and the infrastructure to get it done. So a lot of them failed or took a really long time to produce. So you really have to kind of know what you're doing, research it a lot, talk to professionals, talk to people who've done it. It's just like any business. You can't just say, oh, well, I like toys, I'm just going to make toys. It's not really that simple. You have to learn the aspects of it. It's a skill like anything else. Like if you want to learn how to draw, or you want to learn Photoshop, or, learn computer coding, you have to kind of, there's schools for it. There's classes you can take. You got to be really, really knowledgeable, because there's a lot of levels to creating toy product. Because it's like here in the US, you design it, you sculpt it, you make 3D prints, prototypes, paint masters. But then there's that whole extra level of getting a factory out in China, getting that done, having a project manager out there that keeps you abreast of everything going on, and then it's getting prototypes from them and making sure everything's working well, and getting packaging designed and getting that over there, and making sure they have a packaging engineer. So it's a lot of levels to it that, it's not just making figures.
Are you going to do like the blister packs?
It's going to be like a Star Wars Black Series or a Legend. So it'll be like a closed box with a window in the front.
So like this?
Yeah. Yeah, I actually have. This is the actual box for the Action Force figures. So it's got some nice artwork on the side, window on the front, file card on the back, cross cell on the back. So Yeah, really nice box.
Yeah, I like that. All right. So tell us about Hasbro. What exactly was you doing at Hasbro? Like, what was your day-to-day duties, I guess you could say?
I was a designer. I was a toy designer. So I was a designer slash, I guess you can call it, project manager I was mostly on the Marvel brand. So I worked on a lot of the kid product for the movies. I also worked on a lot of the Legends product. So that was the majority of my time at Hasbro. I also did a few, a few small things for G.I. Joe, some small Transformer stuff, some Star Wars stuff. I touched a lot of brands when I was there, but the 90% of the time I was on Marvel, which was awesome.
Nice. Did they make you sign an NDA or
An NDA?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're there, everyone signs an NDA, and then when we had to go out to like the Marvel studio and get a lowdown from them and see the movie sets and things like that, like you got to sign extra NDAs and that sort of thing. So yeah, a lot of levels of secrecy.
All right. Well, I was going to see if you could tell us something that we don't know yet, but never mind. No.
I left Hasbro in 2018, so anything that I worked on or knew was already come out. So no secrets.
All right. And would you say making a toy is easier or making a comic book?
Let's see. I would say that making a toy is probably easier. You have a little more control. I mean, when you do a comic book, if you're not writing it yourself and you're working with a writer, you have to make sure that you're on the same page with your writer. And then if you're not drawing it yourself, you have to hire an artist to do it. And then it's making sure that artist follows exactly how you want the issue to go. A lot of artists out there, if you give them a script breakdown panel by panel, and then they're like, yeah, I don't think I like the way that's laid out. I have a better way of doing it. And then other artists need that panel to panel breakdown. Mm-hmm. Also, you have to make sure, like with my characters, there's a lot of detail to the characters, and they have specific weapons and gear. So when I send the reference to them, I have to be really picky about going through pages and saying, all right, well, this guy doesn't have straps here, or he doesn't have knee pads, or he has this kind of helmet. So I have to, be on the artist to make sure that they're following the reference exactly, because they're my characters and I want them to look exactly how they should. So there's a lot of levels of different people and creative people you have to deal with in comics, and making sure that all works is a little more tedious. So toys is more expensive and more time consuming, but comics has more people to deal with.
All right. Do you know what are you going to make a TV show out of this? That's the next step. You got the toys, the comic.
Yeah, so currently we are actually in the early stages of developing a movie for it. So we have a production company, and we have director involved, and we have a script writer involved, and there's a lot of eyes on Action Force and are very interested in Action Force. So that's been really exciting, having the movie stuff kind of start, because that's ultimately where I want to go with it. I want it to expand on all content platforms, so toys, comics, media. Mm-hmm. So the more the better to tell the story.
Is it going to be live action or a cartoon?
Live action.
Nice. Let's see. Are you going to star in your own movie? Like
No. All I asked is to be an extra as one of the Steel Brigade troopers. That's about it.
Nice. So how long have you been working on Action Force total? How many has it been?
Since the very beginning of 2019. So, 2 years now. Yeah.
Yeah, this kind of grew fast in 2 years.
It did, yeah. It grew very fast. So it's been a wild ride so far.
Nice. And this is your very first comic book ever, right?
Yeah, for the series. Yep. I mean, like I said, I did some small press stuff because I went to school for drawing comics back after high school. And I was, grinding, trying to break into the comic book industry. So I did some small press stuff, but nothing really like mainstream. So it's nice to now do my own comic for my own line and have a little more control over it. I wish I was drawing the whole thing, but I don't have that time. So I do a few covers here and there.
Nice. trying to think of some questions. We kind of covered everything kind of quick. I don't know. Is there anything you want to tell us about that we haven't touched on yet?
Probably not. I think we got it all kind of covered, other than kind of telling the story. But, I can give you a kind of an insight as to what the Action Force story is about. And then, you get the comics, and then you'll be able to read it and get more of that story as it's told, going through each character's point of view, basically. But the story kind of takes place 8 years from now. So it's very close to our time frame. But the story is that the United States is so divided that it splinters, and each state now then runs itself, and they're called republics. They're not states anymore. So they govern themselves. There's no overarching federal government anymore. But then when you have all these smaller republics running each other, there's always going to be greed and power hungry people. So then larger republics start swallowing up the smaller ones and bringing them in, and then sort of this superpower republic called New Colonia starts, almost like they're trying to create a new United States, but do it under their control and their rules. And then there's all these different factions that pop up and are battling each other. And then the Action Force group is made up of all military members, so they see what's going on, especially guys like Sergeant Slaughter, and they're like, this isn't right what's going on. We need to stop this, and we need to bring, peace back to, the country. And that's how the team forms, because they're seeing these threats and terrorists coming in from outside trying to attack the country when it's weakened. And, they're just battling these factions on all sides. It's cool because you have the Action Force faction, then you have the Garrison, which is part of New Colonia, that's their military. Then you have the Swarm, and then there's other smaller factions that come in as well. So there's a lot of different stories and skirmishes going on all at once.
Nice. We might have to pick that up to review it. We don't get too many military books coming through.
Yeah, definitely pick it up and check it out.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna close it out. You got any shout outs or anything you want to say to the people before we go?
No, I mean, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. For those of you that have supported the line, thank you. For those of you future supporters, thank you as well. Those of you that want to check out the comic, again, please follow the social media accounts, Valaverse on Facebook and Instagram, valaverse.com. I'm always updating tons of content, sharing things with people. So stay tuned. Lots of great things coming up. Lots of big announcements coming in the next month. Cool products coming out. So just stay tuned, because some good stuff coming.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.